Okay, class, so this is now going to be problem ACC 15 called the friction plate. I'm actually going to do the video right now of this, but I also will have some handwritten step-by-step directions for you to follow if you choose, in addition to me teaching it in class. For those of you that are falling behind, this video will provide you the opportunity to back it up, rewind, pause, and listen to as many times as you need to. The steps I'm about to perform will get you this drawing completed, and then you'll print and turn in at the end of this short presentation. So again, we're going to start off with a new border. Okay, so we're going to do a file new. And again, I know you can't see this, but my pop-up window comes up for new SOLIDWORKS document. Today, we're actually switching our units from inches to metric. So I'd like you to pick in the second row, middle box, a GHSA metric border and say OK. Now again, as usual, SOLIDWORKS is thinking we're trying to put a drawing together of a part we created. We have not created any parts. So in this case, I need you to come over here to the left, hit your red X, and then hit your F key to center up your drawing. Now what we're going to do today is we're going to start off by trying to create the friction plate using circles. Okay, this is going to be kind of unique because we're going to have to do some patterning, some trimming. We'll have to get rid of some things, add some things back on. But understand that basically when it's all said and done, if you follow these steps, you'll get this problem correct and completed. I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze here. All right, I'm going to go to my sketch toolbar. I'm going to go to the center and draw two circles. A smaller one and one slightly bigger. Go ahead and hit your check mark to exit out of the circle tool. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn my smart dimension, and I'm going to dimension this outside circle here to 154. And this slightly smaller circle inside of it to 122. Go ahead and adjust these dimensions real quick. Now what this does, it kind of gives me my circles in the middle, and I can adjust these. Actually, they may have locked down now. Oops, hold on. Get out my smart dimension. I can move this around a little bit. So I'm going to center these up. And I'm going to go ahead at this point and go ahead and fix that down so it doesn't move on me. Okay. And now what I want to do is draw a big plus sign in here. We've done this before on problem 7 through 13. Okay, so we're going to go back up to that line tool up at the top, drop the arrow down, and we're going to pick the center line tool. Now, as we did in 7 through 13, I'm just going to hover on these quadrants right here that pop up. That's those diamonds. Hover, pull slightly up, and back down to the bottom. Hit my escape key. Do that again from left to right. Go over here, hover on the diamond, pull over from the diamond a little bit and across, and hit escape. Now, with that done, we're going to go ahead and actually draw two more lines from the center out, the center being in here, so we got to be really careful where we hook up. I'm going to use a normal line tool, okay, not the center line, but the normal line tool. Now what I want to do here is I want to click and hover over one of these circles, and you'll notice this little symbol in the middle comes up. I'm going to left click on that center so I know I'm dead center up there, because if not, what you're going to get caught on are these midpoints, these lines. And that's a problem, because if we get caught on those, our patterning will be completely off and this problem will be wrong. So again, I'm going to go over here, hover on this circle, left click, pull up and all the way out to this outside circle here and hit escape. I'm going to repeat that process one more time by going to my line tool, hovering again, clicking on that center and pulling another one angled out all the way to the outside circle and hit escape. Now what I want to do is I'm going to add some 15-degree angles to this. So I'm going to turn on my smart dimension tool, and from this vertical line here to this horizontal or the angle line here, I'm going to pull straight up. Okay, now remember, we don't want to go endpoint to endpoint. It's line to line. I'm going to type in 15 degrees, and then I'm going to repeat that on the other side. From this line to here, pull out to my right, type in 15. Now what I want to do is I want to create two center lines. Okay, so now I'm going to come back to my line tool and drop this arrow down. I'm going to click my center line tool, And again, hovering on one of these circles, I want to get this little symbol to show up, so I make sure I'm dead center of my circle. I'm going to grab or click and drag a line to the outside circle and hit escape. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Center line, hover in the middle, pull out to the edge, left click. Now I need to dimension these lines since I just added them. So I'm going to go ahead to my smart dimension. And again, from angled line to vertical line, I am going to pull a 30-degree angle. From this angled center line to this angled center line, I'm going to draw another dimension of 30 degrees. So now what I want to do is I'm going to kind of blow up on this quadrant so you can kind of see what's going on. Because really what we're going to do is we're going to build this quadrant up here, and then we're going to pattern it 4 times around. So I'm going to really kind of focus on this part of the drawing right here. Now what I'm going to do next is draw 2 small circles. I'm going to draw one somewhere in here, another one maybe somewhere right around here. I want them close to those center lines at 30 degrees. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach the center of each of these circles to this intersection point right here between this inside circle and this angled line. Okay, so I'm going to add an intersect relationship. Now, in order to do an intersection, this is a little bit different. I got to click on 3 things to make that happen. So the first thing I'm going to do is hold my control key down, and I want to pick the center of this left small circle. That's 1 click. I want that center to attach to this line, click number 2, and this inside circle, click number 3. Now when you do that, you're only going to get a couple choices at the left. You're going to get either intersection or fix. We don't want to lock this thing down. We need it to move. So I'm going to hit the word intersection. What it's going to do, it's going to take that center and lock it to the intersection of the circle and the line. Just like so. Check mark. Same thing in the other circle. I'm going to hit the center of that circle, the angled line, still hold my control key, and then hit this inside circle with the control key still down and hit intersection. Check mark. Now I need to dimension these little circles. So I'm going to dimension this one up here at the top at 12 millimeters. So 1, 2. Now I'm going to use my relationship tool to make this small circle to the left equal to the one on the right. So again, hold my control key, hit this left circle, hit this right circle, and make those 2 circles equal. I'm going to hit my check mark to tell I'm done. Okay, so now what I want to do is I need to trim some of these lines off. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the following. I'm going to take my trim entities and trim the closest. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to trim off this part of this circle and this part of this circle. I'm going to trim off this line right here and this line right here. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and trim off that line, this line, part of the circle, and this one. So what I'm left with is just this one corner. Remember I said we're going to build one quadrant, one corner, and we're going to rotate this around 4 times. Check mark. Okay, now hopefully everyone's still with me here. So what we're going to do is just make some small adjustments. Okay, I need to take this center line here and I need to create a way to trim it off so that the center line is much, much shorter. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 2 temporary circles. Okay, these are temporary because I'm going to delete them when I'm done. So I'm going to turn my circle tool and I'm going to connect to these other circles down here. I'm going to pull one just about maybe a ½ inch outside the small circle. Come back in and draw a second one about a ½ inch inside the small circle. Okay, so these 2 circles here and here are my 2 temporaries. Now the reason I'm doing that is I need to make these little center marks much shorter. I cannot be from the center of the drawing out. So now turn on your trim tool and trim off each part of these center lines and then the ones inside this circle here. hit your check mark, and then I want you to come back to this inside circle and hit delete, and this outside circle and hit delete. That's why they were temporary. Okay. Now what I want to do is I'm going to take this quadrant, this whole little thing right here, this circle, circle, line, line, and all this up here, and we are going to pattern this 4 times around this center. So what I'm going to do right now is go up to where it says linear sketch pattern, drop the arrow down to circular. Now remember, a circular pattern like we did in 7 through 13, this first box is the most critical box. I'm going to click inside there to activate it and tell the computer I want the center point to be, that I rotate around, to be this point right here, dead center. Left click. I want 4 of these equal spacing, 4 of them. And any I want to pattern, I'm going to kind of blow up this so you can see. I want this left line, this big arc, that right line, small circle number 1, small circle number 2, center line right here, center line right here. As soon as you have all those, hit your check mark. And now what you'll see is this quadrant has been not duplicated, but copied and repeated 4 times. Now, turn on your trim tool. I'm going to go in here and start getting rid of some lines. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm going to empty these sections out right here. Okay, so I'm coming through. Again, these lines are all temporary, just kind of give me my layout. I want to get rid of them by trimming them off. Again, I like trim the closest because if I get nervous here or go too fast, I can always Control Z 1 step and save it. Okay, now you're going to notice something. Uh-oh, Mr. Combs, I can't get rid of this here. I can't get rid of this line up here. Well, if you look carefully, turning off your trim tool, that is this dimension here. Okay, now in this case, it's up to you. I noticed I lost my 154, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. I'm going to come back here and smart dimension this one here, okay, and hit my check mark. Now you'll notice we lost at 154 and it's come back as a radius of 77. The reason that has happened is we no longer have a perfectly closed circle. We have these gaps in here. So what I got to do now is get out of my smart dimension tool, right click on the R77, go to display options and display as diameter. Now, what I got to do is I got to add a new circle in here. Okay, so we're almost done here, but I got to add another circle. So I'm going to go to my circle tool here, turn it on. I'm going to left click on the center. Okay, I'm going to make this also for construction, but I'm going to attach it here to the corner and then make it for construction. Okay, this is really important. We need these lines. Now, this one will show dark, but all this needs to be dashed. Okay, so we must convert this into for construction. I hit my check mark, and now I have dashed lines in through the circles like I need to. Okay, so now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and add in a dimension of 122 right here, and check mark. So now I have my 154 and my 122 back. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do a quick save here. So I want to save this drawing because we've done a lot of work and I don't want to lose any of this information because it's easy to forget about this and suddenly you got problems. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of close some things down, move this up maybe a little bit more. I'm just fine tuning some stuff. I just want to make sure that this isn't stuck on that black line. That looks good. That looks good there. Okay. So I'm going to go up to my file save as. We are going to save this as ACC 15. Oops. Caps lock. 15. Shift underscore your last name. I'm going to also put the period 2A. Okay. So now I'm getting pretty close to having this done. But you'll notice on the inside, actually, I'm going to go ahead and do a couple small things here. I'm going to actually go through and, oops, I just realized this is supposed to be 12. Uh-oh, I never changed that number. Fix that, please, real quickly, because that's supposed to be 12. And I'm actually going to delete this for a second. I'm going to bring it to the other side. I'm going to create some space over here by clicking here, left-clicking, and check mark. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adding in some key dimensions here. So for instance, you're going to notice this says diameter 12, 8 holes. So what I'm going to do is go put my cursor over here to the dimension text box, space, 8 holes, check mark. Okay, I'm going to go ahead over here, and this has a 15 here. This one is going to disappear, so I'm going to delete it off, and then I'm going to add in a 30-degree angle between that line and this line to get that dimension finalized. So now I have a 30, 30, a 15, a 30, a 154, a 122, and a diameter 12, 8 holes on the outside. I'm going to go ahead and hit my save key. Okay, now we got to focus on the inside of this part. We need to actually draw another circle. So I'm going to go to my sketch toolbar. I'm going to draw a circle dead center, so make sure it's right in that center point. I'm going to dimension this circle to a diameter of 50. So I'm going to take this, pull this out, and type in 50. Okay, what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to draw what's called a center line tool. Okay, so again, I'm going to draw a center line. I'm going to pull the center line out like so. Actually, excuse me, I'm going to pull it this way and left click and hit escape. I need to dimension that line. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on my smart dimension, hit this line here, and my vertical line, pull up and type in 45. Now from here, what I want to do is I'm going to use an offset tool because I need to create what's called a channel, okay, or a keyway. And I'll explain what a keyway is in class, but this is important to have these when you're working with circles and you're going to have to put a shaft through this. It's how you lock them together so they don't spin freely. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this line here, I'm going to offset it. So I'm going to go to my offset entities, but I'm going to actually show you something unique with this. Take my add dimensions off, and I need to make a bidirectional. Okay, that's new. What's going to happen is when I click on this line, I'm just going to do it temporarily real quick. It will then copy the line both up and down. Bi, as in to, directional. Now the distance is supposed to be from here to here is supposed to be 12. Okay, so that means I need to go 6 to the left and 6 to the right. So where it says 10 here, type in 6 and hit your check mark. Now, turn on your line tool. Click on one end of one of the dark lines to the other end and hit escape. So we close that line. Turn on your trim tool. Trim off this excess lines here. Keep this one here. Do not lose it. And then trim off. And in this case, I'm actually not going to trim off the circle yet. Okay, if you want to, you can, but because essentially this is what it's going to look like. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dimension this right here. I'm going to take this line and pull down. And remember, be careful as you do this. It must match the angle of the line. I'm going to type in the height here at 6. And this distance here should be 12. Now what I want to do is I'm going to pattern this line, these two lines, and this top piece. So what I'm going to do is go up to linear sketch and drop this down. Circular pattern. I'm going to go to this little box right here, and I'm going to pick that center of the circle as my point. I need 4 of these, which is already there, and the entities I want to pattern are going to be this left line, that top line, this right side line, and that center line. When you've clicked all those, hit your check mark. Now, turn on your trim entities, come in here and trim off these pieces. Okay, looks like we got a little bit of a problem here. I see this diameter thing, so I'm actually going to just move it over here. I don't care if it's on the same side as mine, just move it. You could also delete it and add it back on, but this is just the easier way to do this. Is just go ahead and move it. Okay, so that's done. All right, now the diameter 12, or the 12 and the 6, I got to move these. So I'm going to delete these off for a second. And I'm going to actually bring them over here so I can make them look like the drawing. Check mark. Okay, take this one off and delete. Add it on over here. Now again, making sure I'm right where I want it to be. I'll pull this up a little bit and we call it good. Okay. If you look at the part now, it is complete. We have completed this part and it is done. The only thing I am missing at this point, I'm just going to bring some of these things in. I'm going to bring the 30s in a little bit tighter. Okay, just kind of bring this 15 in a little tighter, just to give myself some space. And again, that's the part with SOLIDWORks that's so unique versus hand drawings, is I can adjust everything by left clicking and dragging it. Okay, that looks good to me. Now these 4s, let me explain this. What this is indicating is a pattern. Every time I see one of these, it means you use the patterning tool. If you don't like seeing them, highlight, delete. Don't like that one, highlight, delete. Okay, they can go away. Now I'm going to go ahead and do a quick save. I don't want to lose anything at this point because we're really almost done. All right. Now I know this is not dead center, but watch what happens if I try to move this. Actually, I locked mine down, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, or I mean I didn't lock it down, but it will not move. I'm not even going to attempt to move it because what will happen is I throw everything off. So Control Z that. Okay, so I'm going to leave it right there. It's close enough to center for me. I'm fine with it. Only thing I've left to do is I need to add a title to the bottom down here. Okay, so I'm going to go to my annotation toolbar, go to my note tool, drop a note. Here's the box underneath. When the formatting box comes up, I'm going to drop the font size to 12, style to bold and underlined, and centered. I'm going to type in the following: SWX problem number 15 friction plate. And I'm going to hit the green check mark. Okay, last thing I have to do is go over here to the title block. Now, the title block you see on the actual answer key is incorrect. This should be double click where it says SOLIDWORKS drawing. That should say friction plate. And that's on me. I should have corrected that, and I did not. Okay, friction plate. Where it says GHS student should be your first initial and your last name. Today's date will be 9/24/19. And period will be 2A or 4A or 2B. And a scale will stay at 1 to 1. Hit your F key and hit Control Save, Control S. This drawing is now done. Now go to your print button and hit print. Okay, double check on our page setup that it is on a letter size paper at 100%. Hit OK. Hit OK again, and you have completed this drawing. Now there are also handwritten directions for this if you prefer to follow those. They're the same thing. If you want to watch the videos, just put your headphones on, forward and rewind as much as you need, go as fast as you want to go. I will also be showing this in class, so there will be multiple ways for you to get this problem done. If you have any questions, you'll be more than welcome to ask during class time. Otherwise, that is all I have for you. We'll do problem number 16 coming up. Good luck. Wish you the best.